So I've always been a pretty much very optimistic, happy-go-lucky, carefree kind of guy, enjoying people and a lot of social involvement, engagement around town and everywhere I go. But I found myself just really mired in this situation where I couldn't find and figure my way out of it. The sleepless, restless nights rolled on over into a morning that I didn't want to get up and face yet another day of all those big stress and pressure things I was dealing with. Um, it seemed to be no light at the end of the tunnel, and I called my heart surgeon and my cardiologist. And I told them both that I had read, I think, once upon a time that people who go through these near death, near life situations, they do struggle from different emotional things that come after that for some time. And they both assured me, Dr. Peter Castorella and Dr. Samuel Yosef are my cardiologist and heart surgeon, respectively. Great guys that we really have got a wonderful team put together that they keep me going. They both assured me that, yeah, that does happen on occasion with quite a few of their patients, especially when they're under a tremendous amount of stress. They told me that during the time I was in intensive care and months afterwards, my body was going through this fight or flight scenario over and over and over every day, if not all day long. And fighting in one regard to stay alive, which the doctors, through their skills and their medical knowledge and technology and medication, were able to keep me alive. But also the body is also in a flight stage where it's looking for an exit ramp, basically to check out and to end the life, to die. And it goes back and forth between these two things, back and forth over and over. And then when you add on the big stressors that I had last year, you all those things come back to life again, and you find yourself in a fight or flight scenario again. I found myself in the middle of the night, in one way trying to figure out all of my challenges and issues, and in another way saying maybe it's just easier and better to check out and to kill myself and to have suicidal thoughts that haunted me and kept haunting me. And that's what I had been going through, especially in I guess November and December 2017 on into even January, where I had an appointment with my doctor even yesterday to check up on me. And so I believe that to be true. And one of the reasons I wanted to share my story with all of you out there is because I think a lot of times, especially us student athletes, us professional athletes, don't have anywhere to turn, don't have anybody to speak to when we're going through difficult situations. One of the things that got me through was the fact that I put together a small little network of friends that I can continue to count on. It was only probably about 6 of them who I let know I was under doctor care, and who I let know I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety. Even though I still don't own up to it quite, I tell people my doctor says, instead of me actually owning that, mostly because I really don't fully understand it still. But those friends have been there throughout, and I told them all. I said, hey, there's really nothing you can do other than just call me once in a while and check in on me. See how my day's going, see if I'm overly stressed or overly concerned about something. And I've been able to open up and talk about these kind of things with them especially. And I felt that for our large family of friends out there, especially in Cougar Nation, with Washington State University alums and all the other student athletes in high schools and universities around the country. So many of our young athletes are going through these very similar things. Think about the young gymnast who went under for years and years the sexual misbehaviors and outright crimes committed by Dr. Larry Nassar, who was convicted to several life terms for doing what he did. And those young girls have to carry that with them throughout the rest of their lives. A story that some of them will be embarrassed to carry with them, a story that some of them can tell, and most of them will probably just stay quiet about it. We need to help our young student athletes. Over the last year, I started up a new business platform that I want to share with you that I think could be very helpful. It's called the Athlete's Playbook. And it's basically an online digital media asset company, athletesplaybook.com. And on that platform, we have what I think is probably the most important thing that I'm talking about today. That is mentoring opportunities with former collegiate and professional athletes who really could help a lot of our young student athletes, boys and girls, men and women, who have been there and done that, who understand intimately and intuitively what it's like to be a student athlete. I'm sure that our young quarterback who took his life at WSU was facing tremendous pressures and expectations, all of a sudden being identified as the starting quarterback for next year. The pressures and expectations that come with that. Probably self-doubt kicks in. Am I ready? Am I good enough? People are going to expect me to be as good as the quarterback I'm following and the team to be as good. There's a tremendous amount of pressure, and probably from his family and friends as well, that he's going to be the next star. And who knows what other demons he might have been dealing with. But for him and other student athletes like him to have a former athlete who is grown up now, who is professional, who understands what it's like to go through what they're going through, to be able to connect with that kind of person and talk to them and say, hey, this is what I'm dealing with. This is what I'm struggling with. That's what the Athlete's Playbook really can provide. Also, college planning programs and opportunities. Just really being able to help our young student athletes navigate that student athlete trek that they're on and make that the most enjoyable part of their life instead of one of the most stressful parts of their lives. And so I wanted to share my story with you. And I know a lot of you look at me and say, wow, James looks like he's got it all together. He's doing great. He's made his transition. He's working hard. He's part of the community. Everybody seems to like him and love him. He seems to like everybody and love them. But inside, I'm just like everybody else. And when those stresses got to me to that point where I was thinking about taking my own life and looking around and not feeling like anybody really cared, that it wasn't going to make any difference, that was scary. And so I want to just reach out to you today and let you know that we hope we can help a lot more of our young people. Come on board and take a look at what we're doing with the Athlete's Playbook. We're just getting started. We want to get it up and running and scale it up to a point where we can help out thousands and thousands of kids around the country with hundreds and hundreds of former athletes from